welcome everyone to the Ginette Biro podcast. I'm Ginette Biro, and thank you as always for joining me on the show. I just sure appreciate you guys showing up and listening to the latest insights and understandings from the world of spirit. And today we have some really cool info from the three guides of the light. And I think many of you are going to be nodding your head in agreement that you're feeling these dense energies. And so we are right in the midst right now of an eclipse gateway. And the gateway is like the lead up or this like pathway to the culmination of the eclipse, which happens on June 10th, on Thursday. And so being that we're in the eclipse gateway, which really started on Sunday with the opening of the 6-6 portal, and I'm going to come and explain that in just a minute, but coming back to this gateway, as we approach that gateway and we start on the journey of that gateway, that is a huge increase of energies that are pulling at us, energies that are really pushing our emotional body and our mental body and pulling at our physical body. So it's pushing to surface things that no longer belong in your mindset and in your heart, but it's also pulling at your body energy at the same time. So it's this really weird push-pull where you feel like you're being stretched in different ways, and in many ways you feel like you're like, I just can't even, and you just start dragging on the bottom. Like I was saying to one of my girlfriends this morning, I was like, I feel like I'm dragging on the bottom of the ocean like an anchor, and that really is what we're moving through right now. So this gateway, though, is a valuable, beneficial energy to be in because it is showing you the things that you no longer need to hang on to. This eclipse is all about letting go of karmas, letting go of patterns of behavior that no longer apply, that no longer fit your path going forward. And this is a really good thing because this will free up a lot more space in your mind, in your being, for you to manifest, for you to create the world you want, for you to create the perspective of life that you want, for you to create the reality you want. And this is a really beautiful gift, but we can't utilize that unless we have the space for it, right? You need the space to create, to see what it is you want to create. And so this is why there's such value in this gateway. Now with this eclipse too, not only is it allowing us to release those old programs, old karmas, but it's also allowing us to make peace with them. And when we make peace with something is when we can really gain that ultimate wisdom and understanding from it. So it's not just releasing something because you don't want it anymore, but it's like gaining those final lessons from those things that make you have a deeper understanding. And that is the feeling that you can get when you've completed something pretty crazy, pretty intense, but you know there's a marked difference of who you are at the end than who you were in the beginning, right? That feeling of accomplishment, that feeling of satisfaction of like, oh my gosh, that's why I went through that thing. That's a huge gift to our energy and to our mind, right? And so this is also the power that's coming with this eclipse. Now, the key with that, though, is we have to really be open and willing to see the things that are surfacing, see what is coming up in our mind and our heart, and then also have a willingness to explore what it means for us as we, choose to release it. When we're really conscious in those actions, then we have a higher probability of getting to that point of like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I understand the lesson. I've gained so much more wisdom and, so on and so forth. So as much as it is kind of a turbulent energy right now, it also equally brings massive gifts of awareness, of ascension. And that's what got me really excited about it because to be honest, I'm not enjoying the physical sensation of it. I woke up this morning and I said to my husband, I'm like, I am beat. Even though I fell asleep within a split second last night and slept solid through the night, I feel like I didn't. I feel like I was up all over the place. But at the same time, when I acknowledge that piece, I could then see how much is changing and morphing within me and also within the ripples around me in the world, in the energies. I can see that. And so because of that, I almost have a gratitude for this experience, which is different than before. And again, that's my personal experience in it. Yours might be different, but what I'm getting at is when you can be more conscious through the movement of these energies, you can really see the gift in what it is. This is not meant to be a time to punish people, to, traumatize people, to any of those things. It's meant to be a time of learning and choosing what you want to do with it. And so just remember, if you're willing to go in and look at the darkness, the fear, the muck, the whatever you want to call it, you will be given equal balance of light and positivity, meaning that equal opposite perspective, if you're willing to look at it. But if you go in narrow-minded and you look at it just in a negative way, well, then you're just going to perpetuate that negativity. It's just going to grow and grow. But if you have a willingness to sit back and be like, what else can I see from this? Or what needs to be released? Or what can I learn? Then you will be given that gift of insight. And you might not be given it in that exact moment, but if you open to it, you may have animal messengers that come through to give you an insight. You may have dreams that bring you peace and harmony, phone calls, conversations, you name it. There's many ways. So be open to what you discover, and you may be beautifully surprised. So with that, let's talk about this portal that opened and why it's important. So on Sunday, on June 6th of this 6th month that we're in June, is the 6/6 portal. And this portal, I had somebody ask me, what is a portal? I actually talked about it on Spirit Coffee Talk. If you guys haven't checked that out, it's on the Avalon Spirit YouTube page. It's called Spirit Coffee Talk, and we chat with Spirit about the things going on in the week. Now, in that, I talked about what a portal is. And a portal really is this entry point or exit point of energy into this dimension from another dimension. That's the easiest way to explain it. Now, the really cool thing about this particular portal that opened on Sunday is it is opened as a major exit portal. So think of it like a portal can look like a whirling tornado almost that just kind of sits there, but it whirls. And think of it as you're able to go up to that portal and energetically throw out the stuff you don't want, kind of like a garburator in a way. And it's gonna, take it all in and send it out somewhere else to be transmuted into light. And so this portal is a real beneficial thing right now for us to utilize with the things that come up. So everything I was talking about before, the things that surface for you to see, then can be released into this portal. And this portal is going to stay open until the 10th. So there's several days for you to work with the energy of this portal. And the thing is, the beautiful thing with energy is energy can be anywhere. So your thought energy can send those things you no longer need, those patterns you no longer need, those karmas, to this portal to be exited. So it is no longer a part of your cycles. It is not needed. It goes off planet, right? It goes out of your psyche, out of your heart, off planet, literally. And so this portal, you can connect to it simply by thought. When you come up with something that you no longer want, say your thought is self-sabotage. When you recognize that that is an issue for you and you're ready to let go of that, you can say, I no longer choose to self-sabotage. I choose to nourish myself. And so you can picture taking that image of self-sabotage, whatever it is for you, and take it and literally plunk it into that portal so that it can be sent away because you don't need it anymore. That's how we can use this portal. And this portal for us individually is allowing us these exits and releases, but it's also doing this very much on a collective level and on a world level. And so I'm going to dive into a little bit of cosmic consciousness here for a sec. So I hope you guys can expand your thought process to follow me. Now, maybe a week ago, I was shown this portal, and before I understood what it meant, I was shown this dark energy. And now dark, I'm not meaning like haunting, bad, scary, but like dark, lower vibration, heavy, dense, negative. And it was like I'll call it like the mob boss of the dark energy was standing right outside this portal. And it was looking at this portal, and it kind of looked side to side, and it said, okay, yes, let's proceed. And when I saw that image, I was like, well, what does that mean? Like, proceed with what? And what I learned to understand from the three guides of the light was that this was an allowance from some of the source pieces of the darkness on our planet to help eradicate the pesky darkness that affects each and every one of us. So there's different energies that are around us all the time in different dimensions, but we don't always realize, but sometimes we can have a pesky energy that'll help to amplify negative energies we have of ourselves. So if I use self-doubt again, if you get caught in a cycle of self-doubt and you start hearing these thoughts of like, yeah, I'm not worthy, I'm not good, I'm a failure, whatever that may be, but then you start to feel like they're amplifying and they're like not necessarily yours, that's when there's an external influence of pesky energy. And so it's that peskiness that is being gathered up in many ways and tossed into this portal. But the way that you can help that happen is to recognize within your own self which thoughts are yours and which ones aren't. So if you know deep inside that self-doubt and say the fact that you say I'm a failure, if you know that that is inherently not true, like you've come to a place where you're like, that is not my truth anymore, I know that, and you hear those thoughts coming in, then you can recognize that might be an external influence of darker energy or negative energy. And if that's the case, you can again choose to pull that out and throw it into that portal. It's as simple as that, really. It's setting an intent in your mind of like, that thought is no longer true. I've decided that for myself. So if that's popping in any other way, I'm taking it out and tossing it in that portal. No, thank you. And so if everybody starts recognizing those things within themselves, that creates the whole collective shifting this energy. And when we have kind of like a higher energy, that mob boss guy, that's the best way I can explain it, that negative energy saying, okay, we agree, we're going to move forward, then everybody individually has the opportunity to clean up any kind of negative muck that hangs around them and throw it in the portal. So it's kind of like an entire community deciding to agree upon cleaning up the street, cleaning up the garbage, any of the recycling, and cleaning up every road. And if everybody joins in and cleans their road, then soon enough the whole community is that much brighter, cleaner, and Mother Nature's happy. So it's that same sort of thing is happening energetically right now, as we each have an opportunity to clean up our road, our home, our aura, and our energy. And that individual cleaning up helps to affect the collective. And so again, once they explained this to me, this is why I was excited, because I was like, this is how we each have the opportunity to help change the world by the ripples that we create. And again, the three guides are always talking about that. I think I mentioned that so often. But here's a literal way of how we can do it to literally work with the alignments happening right now in the cosmos. And I love when what's happening above happens down here. And it's this one cohesive unit of movement and change, because it allows for greater change. And so you yourself are so important to this change by cleaning up your own energy field. This is like fantastic. Now, some of you might think, oh yeah, totally, I have a ton to clean up, I've got to get on this. Some of you might feel really overwhelmed, and if that's the case, pick one thing. Just one thing, that's it. Just pick one thing you wish to clean up. And that's a perfect place to start. And then for those of you that are like, well, I don't really know if there is. Well, you might already have the cleanest street in the community. And that's fine. You're ahead of the game. That's okay. There's no wrong in this. But the important thing is to recognize what's going on and utilize it. So if there's, you may be in a position where you can help somebody else understand this energy right now and make the most of their situation, or help them clean up their street, right? It's just the knowledge of what's happening right now energetically gives us so much potential to do these shifts and changes. And May was a lot about changing, or energies that were coming in for change. And June is a lot about action. There's a lot of action coming in June, and I find it very interesting that we're starting off with such an active cosmic alignment that really filters straight down to each individual person. And again, that's why I find it really exciting. So the invitation is really embrace this idea of cleaning house, cleaning emotional baggage. which allows for transformation and metamorphosis, right? As I'm talking to you, the three guides are showing me like symbolisms of frogs, which are always metamorphosis, right? Symbolisms of butterflies, which is metamorphosis, changing from one way of being to another. We are really in that kind of energy right now. We have the ability to make the most of that right now. And within that comes the embracing of endings and new beginnings, death and rebirth. These are really important themes right now. And I've been seeing Archangel Azrael around. And for those of you that aren't familiar with Azrael, Azrael looks like the Grim Reaper. But Azrael has this beautiful energy. I absolutely adore when Azrael comes around, even though sometimes the visuals are a little creepy. Azrael doesn't always show up that way, but I've been seeing Azrael as the Reaper. And that's always, when I see that personally, that's always an indication of a lot of death and rebirth energies, letting go of the old to bring in the new. And that doesn't always mean physical death of people. That means like a death of one way of being and a beginning of a new way of being. And so when I dove into that more with Azrael, I was like, well, what do you are we talking about mass deaths again? Or that sort of thing. And the message was more like a changing of one way of being to another individually. So it's almost like you could say Azrael is kind of standing at that portal and helping to bring in and, push in all the garbage or the stuff that's not wanted anymore. It's an added celestial energy to help us move through these changes to step into the new. So the invitation for you is to really embrace what it is that surfaces. And if something really dark surfaces, embrace it with love and nurturing. And then you can really choose where you want to put it and how you want to release it. And then the second thing to really remember and consider is that during this gateway and during this eclipse, there will be lots of triggering also from external energies. And that's a really important one to remember, is if you notice the thoughts that are coming in are not yours and they're slightly outside, it's an influence from pesky energies trying to keep this progression of humanity back a step. It's kind of a last-ditch effort on this level. And there may be other levels that we get into because life's always a spiraling journey. But notice those. And if you don't like them, literally pick them up with your energy or your thought or imagery and throw them in the portal. You get to make such a big change to where all of us are going by cleaning up your energy, your aura, your thoughts, and your heart space. So I hope that helps to explain a little bit about what's going on. This is set to be a very exciting week. The more you can set intentions, do journaling, any kind of sacred ceremonies to get these energies out, speaking them, sharing them, whatever it may be, the more it's going to help you to really work and move with these energies. So I wish you so much luck with that. And we'll see what comes. I'll keep you guys posted as we move through that eclipse. Now, for anything else you guys want insights on, do check out Avalon Spirit. We have so many offerings on Avalon Spirit, from different personal journey guides to course offerings. If you want to learn how to use your spiritual gifts, join me in my Lightworker Mentorship Circle. We have another course coming up. It's a 4-week intensive. We have another one coming up in the fall in September, and it is really worthwhile. The feedback from the last 2 sessions, or the 2 groups we've done, has been fantastic. So if you're feeling the nudge, it's a safe place, and it's a place where you're going to get a ton of info. So definitely check it out, as well as Avalon Spirit Club, where we dive into all kinds of different ideas and aspects of discovering your consciousness. Our next one is with Elise Cathry, and she's going to dive into how she connects with people's higher selves in readings. And then if you really want to deep dive into super crazy woo cosmic space, galaxy, light beings, and all of that, join me for my Cosmic Consciousness Circle. All of that can be found on avalonspirit.com. And I hope you guys have a wonderful week.